I'm actually using my non-dominant hand right now, and I'm just gonna make some circular shapes just because those feel good to me. You can do whatever feels good to you. Sometimes people have like a shape that kind of comes up for them. And it could be like an animal shape, like a fish or something like that. It could really be anything. So I guess I'm just encouraging you to just be intuitive about this, and don't be afraid to repeat shapes and just kind of scribble around in there. I'm going to do some big scribbles in here with my non-dom hand, make some other little scribbles down here, just because it feels good. You can also write words. I'm writing love with my left hand. It's all going to get covered. So that's just my fun, and that's like fun for me to do that. So my next step, because I really want to try out this new palette, truthfully, I'm going to start, and this is how I really do start all my paintings. I'm going to squeeze out one color, and I tend to make that color be black, but it can really be anything. So I usually pick two colors, like black and a color. So I'm going to squeeze out some red, and I'm choosing red because I actually don't typically use red in a lot of paintings except for accent. So I'm going to grab just whatever brush I have here. It doesn't even matter. And oh, this feels so good to me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a flat brush. You can use whatever you want. And I'm just going to start to paint a little bit over top my marks. And what you should see, hopefully, is that you'll still see the little marks that you made underneath. If you used a dark enough marker or a pencil or whatever, you will still see those little marks underneath. And if you don't, that's okay too. We're going to be covering this stuff up. So I'm just going to make some fun little, like I said, since I'm kind of all about circles lately, I'm just going to make some of these half circles. And I'm just going to challenge myself to use this paint color that I don't usually have. And I'm not getting uptight about it. I'm just kind of going around my little circles a little bit that I put on. And then just because I have it here and I'm sort of in the mood, I have this fun little stamp, and it just looks like lettering. And so I'm going to just use that. It doesn't matter if you don't have a stamp. This is all going to get covered up, but I'm going to just cover my stamp with the ink, and the paint dries so quickly. So I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to push it down hard, and it's going to leave something there. And I don't know if you can actually see that detail. Maybe I got to pull down a little bit closer, huh? My big water there. But anyway, you can probably see, right? There's like a big stamp there now. And I don't know what I'm doing with it. I'm just going to play around with it. And when I get stuck, I take my pencil, and I just want to keep my hand moving tonight. This is totally my process. I'm just going to keep my hand moving around. So what I'm going to do next is, like I said, I grab that black on my palette here, and I'm going to dip into my black. And now I'm going to kind of go over some of those marks that I made. So not all of them, but maybe some of my circle shapes. I always like to have a little white on my palette just for mixing purposes. So this is what my palette looks like. And I think that the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to lay in some of this orange color, and I'm going to go right over top some of this red. Just, again, I'm not really worrying about this. I'm just laying it in over top of some things. So anywhere I have some red, I might just put a little orange, just because it really pops and it's fun to do. So I'm just playing around. The only rules that I kind of keep thinking for myself are that anywhere I introduce a color, if I introduce something into the top right, I try to keep it moving around. You know how we've talked about that in the past, that just want energy to move. So I don't just want to put something in one area unless you want the whole focus to go to that area. You know, if I just had this big orange circle, your whole attention would go there. But that's not really what I'm trying to do right now. So I'm going to just keep layering a little bit. I want to make some kind of a blue. That's what I'm feeling pretty strongly. So I'm just grabbing this is a primary blue, nothing special. I'm going to pick a different brush this time. Now I'm using a flat brush. And you guys, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Seriously, I'm just screwing around here. So now I kind of want to go over this weird black thing that I made, this weird, I don't know what we would call that. Sometimes I use these as feathers. Sometimes they're kind of like fingers. And I think I will kind of pop in a little blue here, just because why not? And maybe because I did that, maybe just a little bit up in here. And truth be told, it's actually becoming a little gray, which isn't the worst thing, but wasn't what I was going for. So I might just deposit that over here, this gray. And I'm going to scribble it with the back of my brush, and that scrapes a little bit of the color off. So that's kind of cool. And I'm going to just grab my first color green here. So, because this is all that underpainting stuff. So I'm going to just go over my little leaf. And you can see like I'm just going over that leaf with the green, and it kept all the black underneath it. I hope you can see that. And I like that so much. I'm going to do another one somewhere else. So maybe I'll just sink that maybe kind of here in the middle, because these kind of look like leaves a little bit. I'm feeling like I want a little yellow. Sure, get a yellow. It's just a feel thing. There's no rhyme or reason. It's really when you look at your piece and think to yourself, what does it need? So now I really got to look at this. What the heck do I want to happen here? Got all this white space. White space is okay. I am going to make a little bit of gray. And obviously, you know, the way to do gray is to just mix a little bit of your white with some of your black. And you can make it as dark or as light as you like. So I'm going to mix myself a gray right here. Oh, I really like this paper. This is terrific. So I'm going to mix a gray for the center of this thing, whatever the heck this thing is, just a little center here. Fill that up and kind of go over things. Liking it, I'm liking it. You know, you can scumble, you can remove some of this stuff if you like. Sometimes I like to do that. Need something in there. All right, so now I'm going to play a little bit with my credit card. I want to play a little bit. I want to get a little shmeary here. So I'm going to get my credit card, wherever the heck did I put that thing? Here it is. And I'm going to grab, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a teal color, something. This is, for me, this is the fun part. This is when people are usually like, oh, what are you doing? But it just loosens things tonight. So now I got a pencil. I want to make my little outline a little bit darker. Just some more scribbles. I'm going to grab a little bit more of that pink, make a little bit more of it. I like that. So I'm going to just blop. I'm just going to make some little marks, like petals almost, like petals. Okay, that's good stuff. I have no idea what you guys are thinking. If you're like, this is awful. or if you're like, this is kind of neat, but now I'm back to my pencil and I'm going to use my non-dominant hand again, kind of scribble in some darks just because I like that. And I'm not liking this over here. This is like way too dark. So this needs something. So I'm like, what does it need? Well, now I have like this other little brush. This is a super duper little brush. So I'm gonna actually grab a little, I'm gonna make a purple. So my purple, I actually have a purple here. This purple is light blue violet. It's a light blue violet. But you could make this with cobalt and white. So I'm going to use this full strength and I'm gonna just plop, oh yeah, look at that, right in the center there. Just gonna plop it on in to my center. I like that. And I might grab a little white. So I'm mixing, I wish I could show you all I'm mixing a little white into it just to lighten it a little. And I'm gonna just put a little on top, just to have a little more. And then of course, since I did something down here, I'm thinking I need to pull something up around this way. So I'm gonna grab it and maybe put it maybe here. Oh yeah, just repeating those same marks. I definitely like this and I'm not liking that. So I want to grab my brush again that I did that leaf, this one over here. And now I'm going to grab, now I'm being a little more intentional. This is where things start to shift for me a little. Now I'm kind of like, well, I really like that shape that I made before. So now I want this to stand out. So now I'm intentionally going back over some things. And I'm gonna just let that be for a minute while I figure out what it is that I want to do with this. So I'm just being a little more intentional there. Like, oh, that really does want to be a leaf. So I'm going to allow this to become a leaf and maybe up in here as well. And maybe I'm just adding a little bit more darkness to some places. I'm liking that. So now I kind of have to figure out, I don't want anything that's not covered on this thing. So I got to figure out, what do I want to do up in here and in here? And so I'm going to do a little challenge for myself. There's always a color in my palette that I rarely use. And it's like this unbleached titanium. I tend to always reach for the white, but tonight I said to myself, I'm going to try some of this unbleached titanium, which I usually only use for skin tones. But I'm going to use it tonight. So I'm going to actually come right up and over some of this. Now, I don't know if I'll like it or not, but I'm going to try it. Come on down around here with it a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it's making things a little muddy and brownishy, but I kind of like how it's layering. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Maybe I'll put a little, no, maybe a little in here. Oh yeah, that's good. A little bit in there. Yeah, it's not bad. I want to do something with those leaves. So I'm going to grab every color green that I have. And I have a lot of greens. I've got phthalo green, I've got a neon green, I've got a lime green, I've got a very light green, I got a hooker green. So I'm grabbing all my greens. more yellow over there. Just filling it up, just like as if you were a child. Enjoy it. All right, now the stencil. So I'm gonna grab my stencil here, and things need to be kind of dry. So let me give this a second to dry. And also my stencil got in the paint, so I gotta rinse this for a second. So I'm going to use a very simple stencil tonight. It's just going to be polka dots. I'm going to dry it for a second here. I accidentally put it in my palette, so it got a little wet. Well, maybe while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'll grab some oil pastels. So I'm going to grab my oil pastels. So, and by waiting to dry, I meant what I'm waiting to dry is my stencil. So I have a whole bunch of these oil pastels, and they all melted together because I had them in a car at one point. So I'm just going to use them right now and not worry about it. They're very mixed color, but hopefully what you can see happening as I do this is they really pop. They bring a pop of color. So this is just a blue, and I'm gonna grab a little aqua and maybe put a little aqua in over here. Just playing a little bit, just playing. And put a little aqua here because this seems to have a little aqua going on in it. From the paint. Using my fingers to smudge it a bit. I'm going to get a little bit of that blue in here a bit. Oh, I like that. And now I'm really starting to see that there are a couple of areas that like didn't get enough texture for me. So I'm going to hit those with my oil pastels. So anywhere where things look a little bare, I'm gonna get in there and just smear around some of my bright colors. So everything is coated. Oh, that is fun. I'm liking it. And so like, I don't even know which direction. Maybe I'm going to turn it over. Maybe you need to turn yours upside down and see where things need a little attention. I definitely needed to turn that upside down to see where I needed a bit more of this pink happening. Just playing with my oil pastels. And definitely needs a bit over here. I'm going to turn it around again. It needs something in this middle here. Not exactly sure what, but this does feel like the right direction to me. That's just totally random, by the way. That's just how it feels to me. All right. A little bit of something here. And I'll be ready for my stencil. feel like it needs a little more yellow. So grab this yellow, get up in here a bit. And now I'm going for it. Now I'm in my fingers. You can tell I'm moving into my zone here when I get in my fingers. Okay, I'm liking this. So now I'm ready for my stencil. I think it's dry. I'm going to use, yeah, it's dry. I'm going to use just the color white here. So I'm gonna grab my white, put a little on the palette, and I have a stippling brush. Now, stippling brushes are stiff brushes. They are very stiff. And the way you use them is you go in the paint, which I will show you. You get in the paint on the brush, and then you kind of bang it around to get some of it off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that paint and I'm going to go into my little stencil just in some very random spots on the stencil. And as you can see, I'm not thinking too much about it. Watch what's going to happen. And I'm not even really trying to cover it. It's sort of a light touch. Okay, ready? Watch this. Here it comes. This is the unveiling. It's so fun. Ready? Oh, come on. How fun is that? So I'm going to just rotate it and I'm going to do a little bit more over here. This is why stencils are magical, because they just do this super fun treatment. Ready? Here, I'm going to do another one. Here's another corner. If you missed it the first time. Ready? So, I could leave it just like that, but I'm going to keep going a little bit. I want to fill in this little turquoise area for no good reason, just I do. I want to break that up a little. So now I'm just kind of looking at it and deciding where I want some of these dots to go. Maybe a few more over here. Go. Okay, I feel like that looks making me very happy. So I'm going to leave that alone. Set that aside. And honestly, this is a pretty stinking good background. And so now it's just a matter of like, now what do I want to do? Right now, what do I want to do? So those little markers that I showed you that I bought at the store. So now I'm going to go in. Let's see if this is completely dry. I just don't want to wreck my marker. So I'm going to, I have a thing for those dots. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to make some more dots, like a couple more little dots. Like there are seeds or something in the plant, in my flower, which is super cute. And then, is this dry? That's not dry. So I don't want to do that yet, but I might add some more of that kind of, that real white as an outline. I hope you can see this. I'm going around some of the things that I painted to kind of break them up. And I'm going to go around these leaves. You can always go over things so you can see. And I'm feeling pretty happy about this thing. So let's see, I used oil pastels, I used paint, I used stamps, I used stencils. Oh, I can use some colored pencils now. So maybe as a final thing, what's one color I haven't used? I haven't used any purple. So I'm gonna just kind of come in and I'm gonna go around in a few little areas just to add the one color I haven't stuck in yet. So I'm going to add it. And then of course you can collage over top if you want. So maybe, I'm not sure, but this could be cool if I add things that look a little bit like stems. So I'm gonna try, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pop a little piece of this green here. That is gonna immediately look like a stem. And I think I'll do a few more of those and then I'm calling it, ladies. And you can of course keep working on this. Feel like that's it for me. For now anyway. And there is my abstract lands, you know, little flowerscape, which I can totally use at a future time. I'm just going to show you something I have handy here. So check this out. We could totally put one of my girls, right? I could totally put her in this jungle landscape. And then this is just an example. This is a piece of wood, but just so you can kind of see my process, I could just completely put a girl here, a little thing of clothes, some words, boom, new painting. Pretend that I had a little scrap and I wanted to make a little dress for her. How cute is that? Come on, so cute. And I don't love this big gray blot over here, so I could paint over it. In fact, you know, I'm not dying for it so much. So guess what I'm gonna do right this minute? I'm gonna take my favorite color. I'm gonna just go over it. So cute, but you get the idea. But right now, I'm just gonna take that off and I'm gonna leave it alone. So ta-da, there's my bag.